Good evening, y'all, and happy Monday. Today I'm gonna continue on the topic of marriage. And if you missed all the other videos, at least stay with me to the end of this one. This one was hard to get out, but the Lord told me it's time. So we're gonna read from Ephesians chapter 5, and starting at verse 22 all the way to 30. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is head of the wife, also Christ is head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, just as the church is subject to Christ, so let the wives be to their own husband in everything. Husband, loves your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her, that he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of water by the word, that he might present her to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that she should be holy and without blemish. So husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as the Lord does the church. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. So, you think the power of God isn't alive today? I tell you my situation, and I found out exactly why I had a near-death experience. I went through a strong backslide starting from 2024, and I was still fighting with the peace that I wanted for my wife and the peace for myself. You know, she had a backslide too. She was grieving some situation that happened, so she wanted to get things that was help her with that. And for my love for her, I allowed it, you know. And now looking back at it, I should have been more of a mentor. I should have been more firm, but I wasn't right in my walk either. So I allowed her to buy some things that made me uncomfortable. And those things were first starting with, vaping, marijuana things, and then it went on to things that are sun, moon, things of nature worship. Then from that it went on to things of skulls, candles, incense, whatever that water thing is, those spirits, those things about worshiping spirits. I don't think she ever did it, you know. And well, I know she never really did it. She just liked the things the way they looked and stuff like that. So I allowed her to buy them just so she get herself right, you know. And then I was in depression, being feeling like I had to, you know, let my wife be satisfied and peaceful, and while I was uncomfortable with it, and then also feeling further away from God. So then slowly but surely this year I wanted to get back right with God in my walks. And then, I went in desperate prayer. Like, what is it that I have to do? Like, am I supposed to be getting a divorce? And he met me right in my closet, and he told me exactly, you meet me here every day, and you will see promises fulfilled. You will see visions. You will see prophecies. You will see a bunch of stuff I can't even say right now. But I started doing that, being in the closet, praying every day, and I started seeing visions and stuff, and I didn't understand them fully at the time. And then heard fast on Saturday. I went to fast on Saturday, and then I was invited to church by the guy who was working on my house. First day, went to church, right? We went out to dinner and everything. The next day, the Monday, I couldn't go to work because I had a flat tire. Went to Walmart because I was like, if I get a flip phone, I won't be distracted too much. And right as I was looking for it, I went to look for someone to go get that flip phone. I fell, and it was like my last breath. I knew it was, and I kept saying, "Jesus, Lord," out of desperation. "Jesus, please, please help me get up. I need help." And I got up, and then my wife drove me home, and I couldn't walk. And then it was a fight there with, because I was like, let's focus on God, let's focus on Jesus. And since I didn't have my family right, they thought I was just being an extremist. So I said to call my mom, and there was nobody to bring her here but my sister. So, and it got late at night, and we went to worship upstairs. We went to pray with my mom, worship upstairs, and my heels was hurt, like getting grabbed, you know. So then they called, and I didn't want to go. Then they left. All of them left because I did not want to give in, you know. So here in prayer for 3 days, I was hearing things in the Lord tell me, throw this out, throw that out, throw this out, throw that out. And I found out I had to throw away those witchcraft stuff. I had to throw away things that I even bought, you know, that, you know, filled my pleasures up, and all of it was wrong, you know, all of it. And now I know, you know, the power of God still lives today. All of that came to fruition so I could start over. It was throwing away those things and starting over. So, and then I, you know, went through it, clear medically, clear mentally, and I was still mad, just blaming my wife instead of taking my own accountability, you know, because some of that stuff was mine. Not the witchcraft stuff, but there was other stuff I had to throw out that was mine. And I didn't take accountability that I also fed into this stuff, you know. So I was not right. Uh, for those 3 days, I was not right health and mentally. Wasn't walking right. My everything was, my heels was cracking like glass, like if the bones were breaking. I'm telling you, I was attacked. And that day I slayed a spiritual Goliath just by praying and letting God answer what I needed to do. And you know, so when I came home, still mad at her. She's saying her side, I'm saying my side, and we were still mad. And then God told me, make sure after in prayer, say make sure you tell her you forgive her and give her a hug. And that fixed everything. And that's what it's like to love your wife like your own body. You know, because I was mad and blaming her that I almost died, and it was also my fault. And we, you know, so, and it was also my fault. So I take accountability, you know, and through the power of God, I'm a new man. And love y'all. I ain't do no song because I knew this was going to be long, and it could be even longer, but I want to cut it short. You know, maybe I'll say my full testimony one day, but it started with that. And I love y'all. And please look through your house. Anything that looks like sin, throw it out. It's sin. Man, you do not want to go through a death experience like a near-death experience like I did. Battle, you know, trying to serve both gods, trying to serve the one true God and the little g God of this world. I almost died, and you know, take it as a joke, but I know what I went through, and I wouldn't want that for y'all. So I love y'all, and throw away those those idols, man. It's not worth it. Love y'all. That's the only reason why I'm telling y'all this. And I love y'all, and I'll have a message for y'all tomorrow. This might be the last one on marriage, but my marriage wasn't perfect. So yours, even though it might not be perfect, there's always a way of fixing it. See y'all tomorrow. Love y'all.